What's going on, everybody? It's me, Fabio, and I'm back again. I'm here to talk to you guys about my military perspective, how it's been, how I like my career, and pretty much what I've gone through. Before I touch upon anything like that, though, you guys know I gotta give a shout out. Shout out to DJ D, man, Dermot Dunn, one of my homeboys from back home, Tampa, Florida. Aspiring producer, man, check him out. Beats are crazy. The bass on his beats are just crazy, man. If you're an aspiring rapper, y'all go look my boy up. I'm gonna drop in the description, so y'all check it out, man. I'm telling you, this ain't nothing. In person, oh my god, the bass on the beats are crazy. All right, so military perspective. That's what we're here to talk about today, right? So military perspective, my experience with the Air Force, right? I originally enlisted in 2017, April 11th to be exact. So yes, this April I will be hitting my 2-year mark with the Air Force. Time goes by quick, I will say that, right? I never would have thought, it would have gone by this quick. I signed a 4-year contract because I'm smart. And then, versus a 6-year contract. So nothing actually wrong with a 6-year contract, you feel me? I mean, there's some pros that come with it, like you might rank up faster and stuff like that. You gotta do your research, you feel me? I'm not here to discourage 4-year, 6-year, or whatever years. You can sign all 20 if you want, man. Just kidding, that doesn't exist. But there are some pros to a 6-year contract, like you rank up faster and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind, look it up, and if you guys have any questions, drop them down in the comments and I'll address them. But yeah, so I'm halfway there, 2 years in April, 2 more to go. Basic training, right? So basic training for me, it was wild, man, because I'll be honest, when I signed my contract, I actually did not know what my job was going to be. And, I'm not even going to go into detail like that, but let's just say, do your research before you sign any contract. Luckily, God bless, I actually got a pretty cool job. So what is this cool job? Well, I'm what's called a comptroller. So in other words, a financial manager, finance, whatever you guys want to call it. I work with money, right? People's money, Air Force's money. It really just depends on what your duty is, right? But before I even start talking about my job, right, and how I ended up with that, let's go back to basic, right? So basic training. Is it hard? No, it's not. Do I tips and tricks to get through basic training? Yes, okay? It would definitely be helpful if I would have known how to roll my shirts before I went. Just learn as you go, man. You just adapt to the environment and it's easy, man. I promise you. Do the days go by fast? Yeah. But it's for the best. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting into Amazon, you get into the air. So what's the environment like in basic military training, right? That's what I mean by BMT. So first things first, basic military training takes place in San Antonio, Texas for the Air Force. So you'll go ahead and get on a flight, bus, whatever it is that the government's gonna provide for you, and then you'll be on your way all the way to San Antonio, no matter where you're coming from. So once you actually get in there, you're gonna have a long in-processing day or night, depending on the time that you get there. So definitely rest up as much as you can. Don't expect it to be like, here's your key, here's your room. Go ahead and take a nice nap, because tomorrow, you're gonna be starting basic military training. No, you're gonna hit the floor running, and you can only expect that, right? So my environment, though, it wasn't that bad actually, okay? And reason being is because there's a lot of dormitories in San Antonio at Lackland Air Force Base, which is the base in San Antonio. So I actually got the new dormitory where, they call it Disneyland and whatever, but hey, I don't care. I don't care if I was in Disneyland, man. That doesn't make me weak. That doesn't make me anything. That makes me happy. All right. Some of the old dormitories, rumor is, right? Well, some of the rumors are true, but they only had like 4 working shower heads, and you're in this flight. In other words, this group of men, probably like 50 men. So imagine 50 men having 25 minutes to shower, all 50, and they only have 4 shower heads. So you can imagine however they got that done. I don't know how they got that done, but they got it done. In my squadron, I was part of the 320th, so the Gators. In my squadron, we had a good 30 shower heads. So, hey, thankfully we had a pretty good rotation, no problems when it came down to showering and everything like that. Bathrooms were brand new, clean, and everything like that. So it really just worked out for me. So pretty much you're in this dormitory. You're in a big building, and you go up these stairs or wherever you're located at. But it's one big room, right? So think of it actually like a locker room, except the lockers are more properly aligned per bed, and everybody sleeps in that, in this big locker room that also has the bathrooms and then, the shower heads and all that. But yeah, so my experience in BMT wasn't too bad. You're going to be running, you're going to be physically training, mentally training, and you're really there for them to just break you down and build you back up stronger. Because I can talk about basic military training all day. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to categorize it real quick and just let you know the components that it consists of, right? Consists of, you running every single day, every single morning, right? Every day you will be doing some physical training. You will be going to school. So those of you guys that try to join the military because, you don't want to go to college, you still actually earn college credits while you go through basic military training on just learning on basic military, rules and regulations and all this good stuff, all that stuff. At the end of basic military training, you have to take a test. And if you don't pass that test, then I think you get recycled or something like that. I can't really remember, but yeah. So you're still going to school, you're still doing physical training, and most importantly, you're just really adapting to your new environment. Keep in mind that, you might be enlisting from Tampa like me. However, so you will be assigned to a flight, and that's just basically what they call, your whole group of men that you'll be working with throughout all of BMT. These people are coming from all over the U.S. You feel me? You have people coming from Utah, Kansas, Iowa, Chicago, California, New York, Louisiana, Mississippi, man. I can name all the states right now, man. You know what I'm saying? For real, you are going to be so shocked on how diverse people are depending on where they come from. But that's the part, that's the thing. In the military, you're always going to be working with people from all over the world. So you have to be able to adapt to people's customs and stuff like that. So that's what basic military training is really about, just breaking you guys down, making you guys work together, and, as a team and all that good stuff. Yes, you do go through a gas chamber. I did go through a gas chamber. I think I have some pics on that. So quick story on that, right? While I was in basic military training and I went through the gas chamber, me and my buddies, so it's very strict. Let me just say that, right? It's very strict. You got to have your mask on, then they make you take it off, and you got to say a reporting statement and just really breathe it all in. They're going to tell you hey, no fist bumping, because guys get excited. They're oh man, we're about to do this. And me and my homeboy at the time, we actually fist bumped, and the instructor saw us, and we had already got gas, so we were already being affected by it. So instructor got mad as hell, kicked us out, made us go through it again. So we got gassed twice, man, and it was just horrible. It was really horrible. You have people with all that snot coming out, crying, just can't breathe, nothing. But yeah, I mean, lesson is, man, don't fist bump, don't do nothing, man. Just go through it one time and then be done with it, right? So after all is said and done and everything like that, once you graduate BMT, you actually stay there for another week, and you go through something called Airman's Week. Airman's Week is just pretty much putting you into another new group of men. Might consist of some of your old group mates, but essentially it's kind of get you ready for your next phase, which is tech school. In tech school, it's not going to be as strict as it was in basic military training, so that's what they try to get you ready for. You kind of talk about, you kind of review BMT with your instructor during Airman's Week, give them feedback and stuff like that. So a lot of people say it's just a week of you talking about your emotions. It is what it is. So when it comes down to my personal thoughts and beliefs on Airman's Week, for some of us it might have been necessary, for some of us it might have not been. However, you have to keep in mind that what the Air Force is ultimately trying to do is they're trying to take you from a stressful environment, being BMT, right, basic military training, and they're going to send you off to tech school where it's it's a little bit, more laid back, right? It's less stressful. So Airman's Week is there to provide you that buffer that you need to get you ready into the next phase. Because for those of you that don't know, basic military training is nothing like operational Air Force, right? Your first base and stuff like that. The sergeants from your first base are nothing like the sergeants from your tech school, nothing like the sergeants from BMT. So that's what Airman's Week is there for, right? And also just kind of like to summarize and get a feedback on basic military training. So guys, that pretty much concludes my part 1 basic military training perspective, right? This military perspective video. Some of the most common questions that you guys are probably wondering is like, well, what did the exercise consist of? What does the schoolwork consist of? So if you would like, stick around to the end of this video, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and I'm gonna cover these right now, all right? Do you have to work out before you go to the Air Force? No. All right, I'm living proof of that, all right? I never worked out before joining basic military training. Well, I won't say never, right? I actually used to work out with my friend. He's in the Marines now. His name's Trent, so shout out to Trent. I did work out with him previously, a lot actually, but it wasn't consecutive, you know what I mean? I wasn't dedicated to working out. So I would consider myself as a pretty average guy, okay? So I'm living proof that it can be done, but I don't recommend it, okay? I definitely recommend that you go out for runs, prepare yourself the most that you can, because ultimately you're gonna have to do it anyway. And on top of it, you're just making your life easier. So I highly recommend that, okay? Exercising. So what does the actual exercises consist of, right? So the exercises consist of, they might have changed since I've been through, but when I went through, you do the jumping jacks, the push-ups, the sit-ups, pull-ups, the cardio, right? You gotta be able to jog and stuff like that. So nothing out of the ordinary to me at least, but some of you guys might be like saying, hey, what if I can't do a pull-up? Well, that's perfectly fine, because if you start basic military training and you can't do a pull-up, and you finish basic military training and you still can't do a pull-up, I guarantee you'll be able to do at least like 5. But if somehow that happens, don't worry about it, because it's not even a part of your physical assessment, okay? Definitely strive to get those pull-ups, but at the end of the day, if you can't meet them, no worries, they don't even count against you, okay? Another question you guys are probably wondering is like, what's the food like in basic military training? To me, it's actually, it actually wasn't that bad. I mean, look at my face. I can't even say that with a straight face. It's not that bad though, I promise you. I promise you it's not that bad, but me being Colombian and stuff like that, my mom always cooked differently from, the traditional foods that are served in the US, right? So it took a little bit of adjustment, but nothing that a little bit of salt can't fix. So it was perfectly fine. I'm a very, very picky eater. So if I got through it, trust me, you guys will be just fine. I'm sure you guys will find something that you guys like. Sundays were the best, Sundays with grilled cheese, man. You can't go wrong with a grilled cheese. Well, actually breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There is no talking in the cafeteria, so it's like it's a standard cafeteria. There's like little round tables, and I think like 3 to 4 of you guys sit down per table, but there's no talking. So a lot of you guys are like, what do you mean there's no talking? Yeah, there's no talking. Don't try to talk. Highly discourage it. If you get caught talking, they're just gonna blow up on you, and it's pretty funny. I don't know. I mean, when you're on the outside, it's pretty funny, but when you're the one being yelled at, you're like, bro. So just keep that in mind. It's not like you're there for like 40 minutes or whatever, eating slowly. No, you got to get there, eat your food, eat fast, and by that time you're probably hungry anyway, so you're just focused on eating. You eat, and then you're done. You get out and you head back to the dormitory, probably hit the showers. And you guys are probably wondering is like, hey, do I have any me time? Like when am I able to just stop BMT and just have me time? Sundays are probably what you would consider as me time, because in the morning you can sign up to go to a service. They have Catholic. If you're atheist, then they have like this club, and you just go there and like watch movies is what I heard. I never went to any other one other than the Catholic one, for service, so I really wouldn't be able to tell you what they were like. But Sundays are your me time, okay? You can write letters, you're supposed to be studying, organizing, preparing for the week, but in the morning time, it is more to yourself. And at least when I went through, there was no sergeants on duty on Sundays. That was their like only day off. So they don't report in, okay? You won't see them on a Sunday, and it's pretty nice, you know? Beast Week. So Beast Week, I mean, for me, it wasn't too harsh. So if you don't know what Beast Week is essentially where you go get gas. Essentially what you're supposed to be doing is kind of like, it's like a fake deployment, right? You go and you're kind of like in a deployment environment. It's still in San Antonio. It's in the same base. It's just like in this like campground, right? So they give you all this other gear, kind of like deployment gear, and you're supposed to simulate like a deployment. So you're not in the dormitory at that point. You're actually in like these air conditioned tents. So we do have air conditioned tents. A lot of the other branches will laugh at that because most other branches don't have air conditioning in their tents, from what I hear. So yeah, you're just like in this tent. Very different, but you'll get through it. It's not too hard at all. Like I said, just stay focused. The hardest thing about Beast Week for me was just like having to go pee, man. I would wake up like at 3-4 in the morning and I'd have to go pee. But the procedure that they had implemented at that time, and it's probably still the procedure, is, you know, to go pee, you have to put on your boots. So at that point, you're in your PT gear, but you have to find your socks, you have to find your boots, and it's very dark in the tent. It's not like you can just turn on the light, right, and say, okay, I'm gonna go to use the bathroom. Once you get dressed and everything like that, you have to actually wait for somebody to escort you, and 99% of the time, somebody else was peeing, so you had to wait for them to come back. And when I tell you, during Beast Week, you have to stay hydrated because, you know, it's very hot outside. San Antonio is a hot place, so I don't know. I mean, when I went, it was very hot, and they told us that wasn't even the hottest season. So yeah, I mean, you go to school in BMT, man. Like, I mean, it's not like standard school, right? You're not like taking notes. Well, you can take notes, but essentially what you're assigned this textbook, and that textbook is essentially everything that you need to know about the military, the structure of the military at least, and stuff like that. So that's what you go to school on. Just learning, you know, the core values, the service before self, integrity, and excellence in all we do. Essentially, it's just like teaching you everything that you need to know about the military. Terminology and stuff like that, ranks, chain of command and stuff like that. So that's what I mean by you go to school, but it definitely feels like school, because you got to pay attention, because you got to be able to pass that test. So that's what school is like in basic military training. Last question you guys are probably wondering is like, when and where can I see my family? So you'll see your family once you graduate BMT. Where can you go? You can go in the San Antonio area. Saturday, so I think it's like 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday is restricted to base, so you can only see them on base, okay? Saturday and Sunday, you're free to leave the base, if permitted, right? So just make sure that your flight has their shit together. If not, your instructor can restrict you from seeing your family to a number of hours. They can say you can only see them for 1 hour, 2 hours, or no hours. I have seen it happen when I went through, so that's unfortunate. But you are able to go around the San Antonio area. Can I use my cell phone? No, you can't use your cell phone. However, once you turn in your cell phone, you will get it back to make an initial call to just let your family know you got there safe. You'll give them they'll give you a paper to read off of, and that's what you gotta read to them. You're not supposed to say nothing more, nothing less. However, you know, you might get in like, hey, I'm doing good, but that's what you're supposed to say anyway. Aside from that, though, it depends on your instructor, but if he feels like you guys deserve a reward or anything like that, they can allow you to get all your guys' phone back. So essentially, you guys can give like a 5-minute phone call, which is a blessing. So that's why it's really important that you and your flight work together to get through it and, you know, get those perks. All right, guys, I keep saying last question, but I just remembered. So aside from phone calls, right, you can also write mail. So These are all the letters that I wrote to my wife while I was in basic military training. You know, you miss your loved ones and you want to talk to them, so they understand that you can write mail every night right before you guys go to bed, and then go drop it off. However, find the appropriate time to do so, right? Not always did I have time, but I'd be in class making time, and I didn't care. I had to get a letter to my wife, right? So, I mean, it is what it is, but just know that, you know, there is ways of communication. All right, that concludes this video. Stick around. Go check out part 2.
Stay down, why they changed up, niggas hate.